Welcome everybody to the Most Valuable Podcast. I am here. I am Mark Williams. I'm with my colleague
Victor Castro.
And we want to thank you for joining us once again. And today we're going to talk about, some things that people will find interesting as far as some stuff we've been talking about for probably the past year and a half that actually took place.
Yeah.
I guess you can say we're fortune tellers and we predicted the future, right? So, and we're going to talk about, it's football season, baby. So we're going to talk about fantasy football and
our favorite teams
and stuff like that. So let's jump right into it. So the topic that is probably the most prevalent right now is rates, mortgage rates. And what have mortgage rates done? They have significantly dropped over the last couple weeks. There's been a report of kind of the trend of what's going to take place over the next 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, with an outlook all the way to the end of 2025. And why don't you get into it, Victor, a little bit of what that trend has been and kind of like where we are with rates now and what that means for someone that's thinking about purchasing a home.
Sure. So, we had this news or this forecast for a while now, especially you having people in the banking industry that, has all kinds of reports coming out and they can kind of tell where the market's going to be at. But, it's an election year, and this happens typically every single election year.
They figure it out.
They figure it out some way, somehow. And so the tendencies of what happened again. And rates were at a 7.5%, something like that.
It was almost 8.
Almost
I think some
8%.
people were quoted 8 at the start of the year.
Yeah. And as soon as the news came out, and this is what's crazy, Mark, just the news of it coming out, saying that they were going to cut the rates, the Fed announced it, there was a trend a decline in rates.
Yeah.
1% came down to 6.5% in just 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that's something that I would always tell. So that's my one gripe about this industry. I feel like we give off news that the and it kind of like misinforms the consumer. And that's why if you notice, like on my social media, I haven't really talked about rates because the rate is the rate. You're going to get pre-approved. You're going to get pre-approved based on the rate. I can post the national average, and that can look completely different than what you're approved for because it depends on who's doing the loan. It depends on your credit score, your down payment, the type of product you're getting. And essentially, you can have any rate you want if you have enough money to buy it down, right? So I'm big on not like quoting a rate because we can have a rate shift. And this kind of took effect from the beginning of the year, right? Rates were like 7.65, 625, 8%. And people are like, hey, the cliche, date the rate, marry the house. But then as soon as rates would drop like 0.25% on a Monday, I noticed all these agents jumping on social media and say, hey, the rates shifted. But by the time that information gets to the consumer and they get pre-approved, the rate just went back up.
Yeah.
So it's like up and down,
It's a teeter-totter.
So it's like, it's misinformation. How about you wait till the stuff stabilizes and just say, hey, the rates right now are what they are. You're going to range between 7.5% and 8%.
Yeah.
Let's hope it goes in your favor when we're writing the offer.
You're right. And I think, Mark, that has to do a lot with the realtors, pretty much their business. It's been affected. Everyone's business, including yours and mine, has been affected. But the reality is there's some realtors that have felt it more than others. That's just the reality of it. And I think for them, the news is just like, yes, it's like finally some good news that I can share with my clients and get them motivated and excited about shopping again.
And I see that perspective now that you put it that way. I definitely see that perspective. I would, being in sales for such a long time, and I was in like financial sales, so we don't really sell products, right? We don't sell homes, we don't sell houses, we sell like confidence, security, and like knowledge, right?
They're making a good investment.
Yeah, so that's what we sell. So we would always say in our line of work, those are called rate shoppers. you'll never satisfy a rate shopper because they're just going to
go to whoever's giving them the cheapest rate.
The cheapest rate.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like we want to sell value. Like I want to sell the value of buying a home, not the rate. Because I know
overall picture,
because home ownership is a long-term game.
Commitment.
Unless you're a flipper, right? And then you're looking for a short-term process. But even flippers don't care about rates. Like I'm going to go look at a flip today. The rate I was quoted was like 11% to borrow the money. I don't care because I'm only going to have this loan for 90 days. Like I'm only going to pay a couple $100 in interest.
It's quick flip.
It's a quick money. Like what I care about is like the margin, like how much I'm going to pocket and then after taxes and all that. But for people that we help that are consumers that are buying the homes to live in, I know for a fact being a homeowner myself that rate's not going to be forever. Like within this 30 years of me owning it, or if it's your first home, like a lot of people are like, yeah, in like 2 to 3 years, I'm going to be out. You're probably going to be in a home like 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. That's the average. It's like 9 to 10. I know that this isn't my final rate. So that's what I try to sell to my clients is you're approved for what you're approved for. Let's get you in. And then just the natural cycle of the economy, you're going to end up refinancing at least once within that 10 years.
Right. Right. And it's going to happen. Look, shout out to all my clients, to all of our clients that are, either on our live or on our podcast. I've been preaching this forever with them and they know, they understand that they were going to make a sacrifice for a couple of maybe months or years until this happened. And it's going to happen now that it's at 1% less than most of them bought at 2 years or a year ago. They're constantly asking me, hey, man, I know you're going to let me know when I have to refinance. And I'm always in constant communication with Cindy or preferred lender.
She's on it.
She's on
That's
it.
what she was doing. So she has right now, she was telling me yesterday that her company has a product right now where, because, she switched mortgage. She was at Nations and Change, and now she's at Supreme Lending. But for those that she helped at when she was under the other umbrella, she's been contacting them because Supreme is offering kind of like to absorb some of that cost for the refinance. Because, it's
going to cost more money now.
The current administration, it costs more money to refinance your loan now, right? So they're absorbing some of that cost to kind of bring that business over. But then it makes sense if you're like have a 7% in front of your current rate, she's going to be contacting you. So if you're watching this and me and Victor have helped you out and Cindy did your loan, she's going to be calling you.
Yeah. And there's a lot of my clients that didn't work with her that are going to be contacted by Cindy because I'm going to be referring them to her as well. Yeah. And, it's all about strategizing and making sure that they get the bet, or they will actually, as opposed to buying, timing for your refinance is key.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to drop 0.5% more in 2-3 months, why would you want to refinance?
It all depends on it all depends on, it's like a situation-based thing, but it's all about like, to your point, if there's a significant drop, then it may make sense if, her company's absorbing some of this cost where it's only costing you, a small amount to refinance. If it's costing you $4,500 to refinance to save $200 a month, if you just wait it out for 6 more months and it's going to drop another 0.5%, to your point, it may make sense
to wait.
Just to wait. You're only really saving, $1,200, but it's costing you $45.
Right.
Where if you just wait,
and there's a break point, right?
Yeah.
If you're saving $1,200 a year and it costs $4,500 for this refinance, that means you got to wait 3-4 years until you see that break point. Yeah. It might not make any sense.
It might not make sense.
So we're going to help you time it and make sure that you're getting the best deal.
This is something we always say, don't time the market, but like refinancing stuff like this, I don't want to say timing, but strategizing on, like what's going to work best for you.
I say time because, if you're waiting, that's time, right? But the correct word is strategizing.
Yeah, you should have strategies and then be able to, during that refinance, the cool part about it is those that did see past, and that's why I always sell, I always sell to my clients is the monthly payment. Don't look at the rate. Don't look at like whatever the down payment's a down payment. Think about like that putting into the house is like moving it from your savings that's in your bank to moving it to your savings that's in the house, right? The mortgage. Because your down payment, you're paying the balance off. So the money's there. It's just you can't touch it until you either refinance to get some of it back or you sell the home. But it's all about like being comfortable with the monthly payment. Because if you're comfortable with the monthly payment now, and let's just say your monthly payment's $4,500 a month, all in, and we refinance you and you drop 1%, you could be saving $300-$400 a month. So if you were cool paying the $4,500 and now the refinance, you're paying $4,000, you essentially increased your monthly spending by $500 by simply doing nothing, right? Now, the one caveat is when you refinance, you kind of start the clock over. But if you're in like year 1 or 2, what? It's not that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal. Yeah. And chances are, guys, in a 30-year span of home ownership, you're either going to buy your second home and move into it and rent out the first one or sell the first one. The key, and this is what I tell my clients, the goal is to have someone else pay for the mortgage.
Yeah.
Because if you're living in that house for 30 years, honestly, you could be not taking advantage of home ownership the right way. I think it's better to have someone else pay for your mortgage if you could.
Well, I was just talking to a colleague, and he was saying he's helping some clients, and the same thing. He's like, they're looking to rent out their home now and then purchase a replacement and leveraging the equity from that home. I think that's
the power of
if
real
you
estate.
have and I would say for me, I sold my first place to buy my current home, but that first place was a condo. And you deal with like HOA and you don't really like it's your home, but
not all HOA is bad, but
yeah, but this HOA sucked, right? And the HOAs can get increased if they want to make improvements to the property. You have to come out of pocket. So there's a lot of factors that go into owning a condo. So it made sense for me to sell that condo and take the $100,000 equity that I made in 2 years. And I basically moved that equity over plus some to the single family home. Now we're thinking about, purchasing another single family home. And we're actually thinking like, do we just rent out our home now? Because what we pay in our mortgage is less than what the rents go for. And then keeping that property and then buying that second home and having this home not only cover itself, but pay a portion of our home. And I think that's when I talk to people that have wealth or are set up, like that's the game plan I kind of want to go into is having multiple rental properties, not only pay themselves off, but generate some type of passive income where it's helping my day-to-day life as well.
Yes.
And the initial domino is that first home though.
You need that first home.
And you're probably going to be in it for a minute.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to buy the first home and then, like I said, unless you're flipping, right? Or you're buying, maybe it can be accelerated if you're looking at homes that, you get at a good price, but it's hard in the Bay Area, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that home I showed you that.
The fixer?
Yeah. So there was a home. So you worked with this
the agent. Yeah.
Talk about what this agent does.
Okay. So this agent has a client that is an investor and has, if I had to say, 30 plus properties that he's trying to sell currently.
That's just what he's trying to sell now. He probably owns more.
But these properties are located mostly in the East Bay. And, he gave him a package. Obviously, I'm not going to share what he's charging, but he's charging less to do more volume. And these properties, like, a lot of them need a lot of work, right? And so there's this home in Oakley that was listed, I think, 250,000 below.
Yeah, it was listed at $395.
Yeah.
And the neighborhood sells for like $6 to $625.
Yeah. So what, like 250 below market value?
Yeah.
It needs some work. It doesn't even have any gas.
Yeah, I went and looked at it. It doesn't have the
gas
meter.
Doesn't have
the
nothing.
meter.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that bad. Like the roof was good, the gutters were good, the windows were good. You can tell there was a tenant that didn't care about the home. They ripped out
the flooring,
but I think they ripped out the flooring because it was damaged.
Yeah.
Because all the rooms, the carpets are ripped up.
Yeah.
The laminate floors are jacked up. Cabinets are broke. It's 100% cosmetic fixer with maybe, who knows, maybe you got to do a little bit of plumbing and HVAC work. But the main systems look pretty good. The water heater looked good. The furnace looked good. The AC unit was newer. The condenser outside was newer. It had a pool that at one point was fine, right? So I don't think it was that bad. The only thing is those you couldn't get traditional lending on it.
Yeah, your FHA, your VA is probably not going to pass this the inspection on this home. Yeah. So it's most likely catered towards conventional financing and cash buyers.
Yeah, it was hard money and cash only.
Yeah,
because without PG&E, it's not habitable.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't meet the
so
HUD
only
requirements.
Only cash buyers.
So basically, cash buyers are hard money lending, right? Meaning it's like a traditional loan wouldn't work on this.
Gotcha.
Home.
Okay, so this agent does a lot of business, and I just got into contract on a home in Antioch that is a little bit better condition than the one we're talking about, but still needs a whole lot of work. And so, what opportunity to be able to get into a home that you can get way below market value, put in maybe 60 grand, 80 grand into it, and now you have a $620,000 home that you can flip and sell.
You know how many offers they had on that home?
How many?
35.
Oh, yeah, I knew it.
35 offers. So if everyone thinks the market is crashing on this thing you couldn't even live in, 35 offers.
35 offers. What do you think it's going to sell for?
I think it's going to sell closer to $500K.
Yeah, so did I.
And I think who buys it is actually going to either A, live in it, or B, rent it out. It's in a great neighborhood, great schools. Oakley's a very safe city. The rental, they can probably get for that home, I would say about $3,500 to $4,000 a month rent.
Wow.
So it would definitely be, if I was to buy it.
3.2?
A 3.2. No, 4.2.
4.2.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I was to buy it and to flip, I would want to be all in like $450. So if someone paid close to $5,000 and they're going to put 60 grand into it, there's not much room to sell it. Like you're only going to make 60K and then you got, real estate fees, 20K to this realtor, 20K to the other realtor, right? So that's 40 grand. Like you have no profit. You're doing all this work to make 15 grand. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
What it would be worth is if you bought it at that price would be to fix it up, right? If you have the cash, which it probably went to with 35 offers, it went to someone that was all cash. So this is what I want you guys listening to think about too when you're buying a home and you're thinking about down payment. I know a lot of us are on here saying, buy a home with zero money, buy a home with 3% down. Yes, cash is king. But I also, if you have the cash, I want you guys to listen to this, to not be scared about putting more money down. Because essentially, if someone bought this home, let's just say $500,000 cash, okay? Cash money, they bought the home. That $500,000 in a savings account is making you what? 0.01% interest? You're making $50 a year.
And with today's inflation,
it's nothing. But the real estate market's up like 15%. So essentially your $500,000 is going to make 15% interest compounding on this home. Like think of that home as a savings account making 15% interest.
As an investment account.
Not
a savings account.
If you're an investor, if you have a financial advisor and you told him, put me in a product that yields 15% year over year.
There's nothing out there.
It's going to be pretty tough. You're going to be very aggressive though, but you're going to have to be he's going to ask you she's going to ask you, what's your threshold? What's your risk threshold? And it's got to be very like aggressive to make 15%. 401ks make like 2%. You know what I'm saying? That's very moderate,
and
right?
Then they tax you at the end.
Yeah, and you tax when you used it. So that's the power of real estate, man. Like that's why I always tell people, and especially in the Bay Area, like there's money out there, and people are smart, and they realize the value of owning property. It's like I can't stress this enough. It's like real life Monopoly. If you ever played the game Monopoly, whoever owns the most real estate wins the game.
Yep.
This is real life.
Right.
It's real life, right? So that being said, like I wanted to transition. I know you said this guy, this agent that's helping this investor, you just did a deal.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about who you did the deal for and kind of
how that came about?
Yeah.
Okay. So the power of social media. Most of our business, Mark, comes from social media. If you're watching this podcast, listening to this podcast, most of our business comes from social media. And they live in San Francisco. We posted a listing in San Francisco. It was your listing, Mark. And obviously we leverage each other's listings, and we try to get more buyers and people, a buyer maybe for even the actual listing. Well, they reached out to me and booked an appointment without me even knowing. I didn't even know they followed me. I didn't know this person. They were just following me. They booked an appointment and had the conversation. And turns out they had a whole bunch of money saved up, ready to buy their first home.
Yeah.
But they understood San Francisco was not going to be an option.
It's crazy out there.
It's just, it's not an option for them. The income that they make is not, unfortunately, not as where it needs to be able to afford San Francisco. So they knew the East Bay was going to have to be the go-to area for them. So we looked in Antioch as soon as they were pre-approved, and they knew for what they were approved for, it was going to be a fixer. But that's okay. They know that getting into their first home is going to ultimately help them get closer to San Francisco in the future. Yeah. So, really good down payment. Credit is excellent. They had savings in a CD account and savings, all kinds of accounts where they had their money, but ultimately they were saving this money and investing this money to be able to put down towards their first home. And, they thought about it a little bit. They thought, hey, if I keep my money in my CD account, is it going to outweigh the investment that I'm going to make on the home?
Yeah.
And I talked them out of it.
Yeah. I mean,
nothing's going to beat what your home is going to make.
You actually lose money.
Yeah.
Keeping money in a savings account actually loses you money. It doesn't save you money. Yeah. It's just with the rate of inflation, the interest rates don't match up. In CDs, you'll hear like 3-4%. I remember when I started banking in 2006, when I was working in the bank, we used to offer CDs for like 10-12%. That kind of makes sense. Like that's a big amount. This 3-4%, it's not doing anything for you. Like your buying power gets less and less. So, making 4%, it sounds great. It's no risk, right? The bank's not going bankrupt. It's no risk, right? Well, the bank could go bankrupt, but you're insured up to $250 FDIC. So it's very minimal risk. And yes, we're not saying that buying a home, there's no risk in it. There's definitely risk in buying. We're not fortune tellers. We can't tell what the economy is going to do tomorrow or anything like that. It's more of, if you look at home ownership as a long-term investment and you look at the history behind it, even including all the downturns, it always rebounds, and it rebounds stronger. So there's always a risk, but if you're able to, quote unquote, ride the wave, you're always going to come out on top.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to consider it a crash, the closest thing we're going to have, I think, just happened just recently in the last 2 years. Some areas, prices came down.
Yeah.
But what is happening now? They're at where they used to be, or they're going to, go over that too. So in the near future with rates falling.
Well, I'll put it this way. What I learned from the last major crash, if that was to ever happen again, what I'm trying to do right now is, I know we make those jokes and there's those memes on like Instagram. It's like, man, I wish I would have bought a house at 8 years old in 2008, right? For those that are in their 30s right now or late 20s, in 2008, you might have only been, like 10, right? So, and they say, man, I wish I would have bought a house. And there's all these memes and it's joking. Yeah. Well, in 2008, I was 26. I was in the position to buy a home. I just didn't have the knowledge that I do now of looking. I was in San Francisco, so I'm thinking about buying homes here. I should have been looking in like Solano County, Concord, Contra Costa, Alameda. I probably could have bought like 3 homes out this way. They were selling for like 50, 60 grand. In some cases, like even in nice neighborhoods, like 200 grand, right?
Wow.
I don't know if you do this, but when I look at homes, when I help a client write an offer, I always pull up the history of the home. Sometimes I'll pull up the old listings.
What did they sell for?
And what did they sell for? And I just
do
be
that
like,
too, yeah.
Son of a bitch.
If only I could have.
But what I'm trying to position myself now is, it's like, if there ever is a downturn, having myself in a position to be able to buy something.
Yeah.
Because interest rates don't matter. And this is something that I realize, it's very area specific. And being in the Bay Area, being in a highly desirable area, yes, in some cities, prices did go down. But who do you think capitalized on that? The people that were able to buy it cash.
Yes.
Because they don't care about the rate.
Yeah.
And now rates are dropping and boom, like prices are going to go up.
They're cashing in on deals left and right.
They just, turn that $1 million into 1.2 million now. Easily.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. Like you think about it and it's like, yes, that can happen, but who took advantage of that when it did happen? Look at this. You're talking about doing a deal on this investment. Who's the investor that has 30 plus?
I'd like to know. It's a weird name. I don't know. He has it under a LLC or something.
Yeah, we won't put their business out there.
Yeah.
But I guarantee if we look at when they purchased these homes, it's going to be between 2008 and 2013. Yeah. So that person was in a position to just buy up all these properties.
Yeah.
And that one in Oakley, I looked it up because I was interested in buying it. And this investor bought it in 2012 for $265,000, which that's towards the end of the crash. So the prices were stabilizing a little bit. But you think about it, they probably bought it cash for $265,000. Okay. And that was 2012. We're 12 years later. Right? We're in 2024. So 12 years. Let's just say it was a rental. It was a rental for those 12 years. And let's just say it averaged $2,500 in rent. Okay.
It kept on going up.
So that's $30,000 a year. All right. So over 12 years, they made, let's just say they averaged $2,500. So they made $30,000 a year in rent. Okay. Their initial cost was $265,000. And when they bought the home, it was nice because during the crash, like a lot of homes were nice. People just couldn't pay it, right? They just foreclosed on it. So $265,000, minimal expenses on it over the last couple years, right? So let's just say they netted $30,000 a year times 12. That's $360,000. So they turned their $265,000 into $360,000. Okay, that's what they made over 12 years, and now they're going to sell it for $500K. So they're getting their $265,000 back. And plus another $245,000. So they just turned $265,000 into over $600,000 in 12 years.
And that's at the very conservative.
That's just me being conservative.
They could have made more money.
That's how you got to start thinking.
Yes.
And it's not too late to start thinking like this. This is how wealth is built through real estate. You got to start thinking about, how do I position myself to make these type of moves like this investor?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say it, but in real estate, it takes owning homes. Doesn't mean you have to live in them, but this is what the power of owning homes does. It's like you're dealing with significant amount of money, not just throwing your $100K in a CD and in 10 years it's worth $110.
Mark, you bought a home in San Antonio for
$150K.
$150K. Put 20% down, right?
Yep. All in was it cost me $35K to close on the home.
Okay. So talk a little bit about what your rental is, who you're renting to, if you just a little bit, and what that's going to signify for you in the future.
Yeah. So, $150K, brand new construction. So it's warranted for like 10 years. It's in San Antonio. And if people don't know, San Antonio is considered the capital for our armed services. They have a lot of different like Air Forces stationed out there, Army, so on and so forth. It's a growing city, and we bought one that's close to the Air Force base. It costs about $35K out of pocket. Our all-in taxes, insurance, HOA, and mortgage payment is about $965 a month. And I rent it out for $1,400. So if you think about it,
and what's your payment?
Like $960.
$960, and you're renting it for $1,400. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So you think about it. Let's just say I have minimal cost. So just say $400. So I'm making $400 a month on that initial $35,000. So it's not something to retire, but I'm making essentially about $5,000 in interest. So think about I took that $35K that me and my wife had, and we put it in a savings account, and that savings account is making $5,000 a year. That's not including appreciation of the home. If that area blows up, what if that home that was $150 in 5 years is now worth $250? So I made, in 5 years I made $25,000 in interest plus another $100,000 on $35K, and then the home pays for itself, right? So it's just one of those things where it's like, yes, am I going to be able to retire on this property? No, but the goal is it's paying for itself. It wasn't a huge risk, and the cool part is where it's located. There's no one really buys homes in that area because they could be stationed there for a year, 2 years, 3 years. And like my tenant is in the Air Force. So I know he was there for 18 months. And I know the rent's going to get paid because the government pays the rent.
Right. So what's going to happen, Mark, once the home is paid off and you're able, and obviously rent goes up, you're going to be able to rent this home eventually for $2,000.
Yeah, I mean,
eventually it's going to hit $2,000.
I mean, if I really wanted to, I can pay the house off today. I have the money to pay the $100,000 that I owe, right? But why? Eventually I want to be in a position where I do pay off that, and then maybe rents are like $2K a month. Now it's just $2K of straight income.
Yeah, exactly.
That's $24,000 I'm making off this little house that cost me $150.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you have another stream of income where this home is paid off and that rental income's coming. Like my goal in the next, I say short-term goal, 3 to 5 years, is to have about $10K in rental income. That's it. Like I'm not paying anything. I'm making $10K a month just off rentals. You might not see me on this podcast.
Yeah, now you can retire.
Yeah, and you got to think about it. The cost of living is if that's paying for my living, like then I don't have to make as much money, right? Or I do, and then I just get everything paid off, right? So the goal is to have my investments pay for my lifestyle.
Absolutely,
that's the ultimate
absolutely. Goal. You and me, brother. You and me.
But so that's our knowledge. A little bit of putting you guys up on game about investing and kind of how the market's looking and with the rates. So I guess my advice would be, if you were on the fence because of rates, come talk to us. Hop in now, because now, you're not going to, it's dropped enough where it makes sense to, if you didn't like the rates before, like it makes sense now.
Not only that, Mark, but not enough homes are hitting the market. Inventory is still low. And that equals great deals.
Yeah.
There's still great deals out there that are sitting on the market where you can still offer a great price, and maybe even negotiate some closing costs for you. Yeah. So time to buy, I think the cheapest time to buy is right now.
Yeah. It's a great time of year to get out there too, because there's a lot going on with people, holidays, schools back in, and stuff like that. So, you might be one of the few that are still in the market, still hunting. So, but, with the change of year, it brings on football.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Football.
Yeah.
Enough about real estate. Let's talk about football. So, I know me and you are big football fans. We like different teams. I know you're a big 49er fan. I'm a big Raider fan. But let's just talk about, like, this time of year, man. Like, it's crazy to me when, like, you really think about it. Like, it's definitely the American pastime is football. It, like, runs people's lives. There's a reason we're doing this podcast today, because tomorrow is the start of football, right? So it's just one of those things where it's like, I'm big into fantasy football. I know you do a little bit of fantasy football as well. And my wife is like, I thought you just liked the Raiders. Like, why are you watching the Cleveland Browns play the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah.
Hey, I have a player on that team.
Exactly. No, my wife the same is like, why you're a Niner fan? Why are you watching this? These two random teams play, and not just that, but like we just love football.
Yeah.
Like I love watching the sport, and even if I wasn't playing fantasy football, I always get a kick out of how the teams are playing and see who's hot, see who isn't. And you just never know what you're gonna get if you're watching, right?
Yeah.
Like it might be some crazy play, like the play of the year or something.
I think the cool thing about football, it's so infrequent. Like baseball, there's games every day. Basketball,
and they take a long time.
Baseball plays 162 games.
Yeah.
Basketball, you play 82. Yeah. Right? Football, you play 17.
18 now.
No, 17.
18 weeks, right?
18 weeks.
There's a bye. There's a bye.
17 games. But that's it. And then the playoffs are one game.
Yeah.
The winner go home.
Yeah.
So it's the importance of every game. I think that's what really draws the big crowds. It's like every game is super important. And then when you get playoff time, like it's definitely even more important because if you don't win, you don't get a second chance, right? Yep. So, and it's a very strategic game too. Like the game itself, the game within the game type of thing. And week to week, a team could look different. You got different opponents. And it's so few. There's only 32 teams. So like some positions, there's only 32 quarterbacks that play, right? There's only, 32 centers. Like it's like the cream of the crop. No other countries really play football.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so expensive to play.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I try to go as many games as possible. I know you're excited, and it's a fresh start. Everyone's 0-0. So.
Yeah, but we all know who has the better chances of winning.
Yeah, it's not your team.
Yeah, it definitely ain't your team.
We'll see. You never know. Every year is different. Hey, real estate's like the housing market, man. You can't predict the future, bro.
No, you can't predict it. You can't predict it. That's for sure. Like your quarterback could suck or get injured, or you just never know.
Yeah.
But the probability that is there based on their history and how healthy they are.
But every year there's that one or two teams. Last year was the Lions. No one they were 8-9 the year before, and they were a field goal away from being in the Super Bowl. They make a little bit better judgment in that game against the team you like.
I was there. Trust me, I was there. I know, but I saw it.
But if you would be lying if you would say that the Detroit Lions were going to be in the NFC Championship game.
No one saw that coming. But
in the year before, there's another. There's always a couple. Green Bay.
The talent that they have, bro. It's
but
crazy.
Every team is talented. Every team has first round pick. Every team has the cream of the crop on their team. I think that's what. So the people that excel, you have those players that excel that are like the elite, but everyone is really good that plays on that football field. That's why I like the sport, because everyone gets the same amount of money to work with. It's a hard cap, so everyone has to spend the same amount of money. Everyone goes through the same draft. Everyone gets essentially the same amount of picks, right? So there's so much that goes into it. It's players, conditioning, strategy, coaching, ownership, like all that stuff factors in. Right. Where like basketball, you can literally have LeBron James and a bunch of scrubs and be a competitor.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But in football, Patrick Mahomes is great, but you don't have any talent around him. There's been many quarterbacks that have been great. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. He's been to one Super Bowl.
Right. Exactly. No, that's true, man. I mean, there's a lot that factors into their season, how good it is and whatnot. But ultimately, there is a level of talent. Ultimately.
Yeah.
The best players are the ones that...
Yeah, the cream rises. That's for sure.
So, you know.
Cool, man. Well, let's wrap this up. Thank you guys again for joining us. If you're on Instagram right now, you're watching us live stream, podcast will be available on YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us to get all the updated content. And with that, we look forward to
winning with you.